there are plenty of things to stress us out and maybe pull us away from thankfulness, this is a really good time of year to sit back and maybe soak it all in and think about the things that you appreciate and think about the things that have gone right in your life. If you think being a dad is filled with rewards, challenges, or headaches, and you keep pushing forward because you know this is the most important job you're ever going to do, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Dads All In podcast. Welcome to the Dads All In podcast. I hope you're doing great. I hope your family is well. I'm just glad you're here, my friend. In this episode, we are going to talk about being thankful. As I sit here and record this, we're coming up on the holiday season. Thanksgiving is coming, and this episode is going to drop right before Thanksgiving. And I always stop and think about this time of year and how much I enjoy it. The stretch from Thanksgiving all the way through the holidays, Christmas, even into New Year's, it's just refreshing. You seem to take a minute and think about the things that are going well as opposed to all the stresses that are out there for dads and parents in general. And so in this episode, I thought maybe I would take a few minutes and try to set a goal for you and also myself about trying to take the idea of being thankful for things that we appreciate and extending it beyond the holidays. Because I honestly believe that we see the best in people during this time of year, and it's really why I'm kind of a holiday junkie. Right after this drops, I'll be putting out a video talking about what I do to get ready for the holidays, meaning Christmas, getting the inflatables up and running, and some of the corny things that I do just because I love the Christmas season, but I also love this whole stretch, Thanksgiving and how it all kind of ties together and seems to bring the best out in people. And sometimes you find that people who don't always have a ton of empathy, maybe this time of year have the most. If you heard one of the previous episodes, I talked about how empathy is dramatically impacted by how you're feeling. And so when we're stressed out or we're exhausted or we've just got a lot of worries in general, which that's parent life, that's how it works, it affects our ability to be empathetic and think about others because we're solely thinking about taking care of ourselves or taking care of our families. And it's tough to get outside of our bubble because of the stress levels. And that's completely understandable. However, like I said, the one thing that's nice about the holiday season is we take a minute to maybe pause, step back, think about the things that we're thankful for in our family, in our community, and beyond. And a lot of times that leads to helping others. But as you know, I try to be balance optimism with realism because I know negativity has a drastic effect on production and how you can impact the world. I don't often just drown my sorrows in negativity. That's not good for anybody, especially the people I'm trying to impact, my kids, my wife, and also the people at my job and the college students that I work with. But I'm also not completely on the other end too, where everything is okay, all is good, nothing but roses, lollipops, and gumdrops here. That's not realistic. So I try to go right in the middle, which is probably more realism is where I end up landing on all of it. And because of that, I am not blind to the stress that's out there right now for you, for a lot of families who are hurting right now. The holiday season may not be as chipper as it has been in the past, or maybe as much as we would hope it to be. But I do want, that regardless of your situation personally, I do want you to take a minute and think about some things to be thankful for. And obviously, top of your mind and top of my mind is our families, our immediate families. If you have a significant other, yes, but specific to this show, our kids. And sure, those come with a lot of stress as well, but there's a lot to be thankful for when you're a dad. The life can be a grind, but you do have these amazing moments when your kids do something incredible or you're proud of something that they accomplished or you just see something admirable in them. And as I say that, one of the things that I really enjoyed in my 20 years of teaching elementary school was how thankful kids were. And it didn't have to be Thanksgiving. And you wouldn't believe some of the things they would share about how much they appreciated their families or how much they appreciated certain people in their lives who went above and beyond for them. And a lot of times kids don't communicate that. You don't really know that. So they share it with others and you don't even hear it. So it's possible Your kid is at school saying, my dad's amazing. He's so great. I love him so much. But in return, that doesn't come back to you. Maybe your teacher will share that with you at like parent-teacher conference, but that doesn't always come back to you, which makes the gig hard. You don't get a lot of pats on the back as a dad, and that's kind of part of the job, I guess. So when you do, you got to soak it in and savor it and hope that that carries you through an extended period of time. And that's kind of what I'm getting at here. Thanksgiving brings on this whole season when we start to look at things through a different lens, and it allows us to take a step back and say, you know what? Yeah, I got 9,000 different stressors in my life, but I'm pretty good with this right here. Like this part of my life, really thankful for. I'm really lucky to have my kids. I'm really lucky to have this person in my life, my significant other, my parents, my grandparents, whoever it is that's special to you in your family, in your community, and beyond. So as I talk about like taking a step back and thinking like in a broader picture, I actually go back to the episode with Chris Mukibi where he said when things are crazy stressful, he only really thinks about the moment or the day. He's not thinking beyond. And that is probably survival. I've shared before when we had our twins and they didn't sleep for like 18 months for more than 2 hours at a stretch. My wife and I were in a big fog. Just the entire 18 months were just a big fog. I don't know how we survived it, but luckily we did. We tried everything in the book from sleep training and everything else that people told us, and nothing seemed to work. It was just ended up being developmental and something they had to learn. And I'm glad to say now as 13-year-old girls, they sleep. That's not a problem anymore. They actually outgrew that. And, by the time they were 1.5, they got all the way through the night, but it took a long time and it was exhausting. And that period of time was super stressful, filled with amazing little moments of being a dad of 2 little girls while we had a 4.5-year-old son with a lot of juice running around all the time. Like there were so many great little moments, but it was exhausting. And I say all that because that period of time, we didn't see further than the end of our nose. We were only focused on us. Like, can we survive this patch? And I actually had this moment yesterday. So my son, who's 18, started college and he's now decided he's going to make a switch. All of the plans that we had for him and all of his plans, it looks like it's going to go up in smoke and he's going to transfer to a school. And let's just say it's going to cost a whole lot more money than we'd planned on. So on one hand, I'm super excited that he has finally figured out a pathway forward that he's passionate about. It's taken him a long time to get to this point. But on the other hand, my wife and I are like, oh, what are we going to do now? This is, I don't know, thousands and thousands of dollars more than we had budgeted for. And by the way, if you think because I do a podcast and I've got a YouTube channel, we are banking it, that's not how it works. Even though you're listening to me, it doesn't mean my wife and I were like crushing it. But I can tell you, we have lived a pretty modest lifestyle for many years, trying to plan for our son's future and our daughter's future. Our plans that we kind of had set forth, and we were feeling pretty good about how it was all going to work. And now we got to readjust. And so I say that all because just yesterday, I was thinking, oh my goodness, we're going to go through this patch now where we are going to have to nickel and dime everything. And the stress I could feel start to build up. And in those moments, you start thinking, what can I do to make more money? What can I do to put more money into this fund? What can I do? And you start to think solely about yourself. So I'm saying that because this isn't just you. This is all of us. When you're stressed, you're thinking about your little bubble. You're not really thinking about beyond. I also pause and I think to myself, you know what? I should be thankful. I should be thankful because my son has finally figured out. I've been preaching this to him for ages. Don't follow the money in your decisions in life. Follow the impact. What are you passionate about and what kind of impact can you make on the world? And will that help you pay the bills? Maybe not always. He's interested in going into wildlife conservation. Pretty sure he's not going to crush it financially, but I'm proud of him that he is trying to find his way that he can impact the world. And for me, that is even more important than money you make. So I say all of that because sometimes we got to force ourselves to think beyond our stressors and stop and pause and just be thankful. Like I'm super proud of my kid. He has come so far. So taking that broader view of things just can be helpful. I'm amazed so many times when you talk to somebody who's more mature than you. I shouldn't use the word mature, I guess. Somebody who's older than you and has more experiences than you do. Regardless of what stage of life you're at, you're going to talk to somebody who might be able to give you some advice. And time again, I have found that person will usually be calmer about the situation than you are. And maybe they may chuckle a little bit because they've been in your shoes before. And when they share some ideas, they're sharing ideas not because they're stressed out about it. They're sharing ideas because they've been through it and they have an awareness that you're going to make it. You're going to be okay. When I used to work at the school district, I was part of a ton of different committees, both in our school district and then even on the state level. And we would always have people who were right in the moment. Here's a problem right now, and we got to fix this right now. And the panic amongst some of them would really kick in. You could see it on their face. And then we'd have somebody who's been through this kind of thing before. And they would say, it's okay. We're going to figure this out. Let's talk it out. Let's figure out a path forward. And that is the experience I'm talking about. And so if you're feeling stressed out this holiday season, it's understandable. There are tons of things to be stressed out about. If you need to find out more about that, look at some of the past episodes. I've provided plenty of things that us as dads, we struggle with. But there's also so much to be excited about. There's also so much to be thankful for. And my hope for you, and my hope for myself too, is that we're able to take that and extend it beyond the holiday seasons. So yes, use this as a spark for something special. While you're eating your turkey, while you're watching football, have a moment or two and be like, you know what? This is pretty great. I am pretty fortunate to have these opportunities. And then think about trying to feel this kind of way in January, February, March, April, when things get back to the regular, normal status quo of everyday life. You're never always going to be 100% joyful. Hopefully, you're never always going to be 100% down in the dumps. But a broader view helps us out. And just like Chris McKeeby said, when he's stressed out, he's thinking about right now. But the broader view gives you a clear vision of whatever it is you're doing in life. And so when we're talking about understanding the opportunities you have, that's really what we're getting at. Like seeing a broader view. One of the reasons why I love Thanksgiving so much goes back to my childhood. I was super fortunate, as I shared before, to grow up in a small community, but Thanksgiving was different. It was very unique. We had family come in from a variety of different places, and then we would go on Thanksgiving Day and hang out with like 40 family members. Think of like a family reunion almost for Thanksgiving. It was pretty awesome. And then we wake up the next day and we would go to the Christmas parade because, Black Friday, kicking off the Christmas season officially. And then maybe we'd do some shopping, although I try to stay out of the stores now on Black Friday, that's for sure. But when I was a kid, I didn't mind it so much. And back in the 80s, it was the thing to do. Like you went to a mall and you stayed there all day and you just, wore yourself into exhaustion shopping for things on that Friday and Saturday. But I remember all those experiences and I remember thinking as a kid, this is amazing. Like this time of year, this stretch is great. And I still get that feeling now. Before my parents moved away from where I grew up, one of my biggest joys was being able to take my own kids to that parade. And it is not the Macy's Day Parade. It was nothing like that. A lot of the costumes weren't as majestic as I remember them being when I was a kid. But seeing that joy through their eyes again was pretty daggone cool. And so that's what I'm going to close up on here. I want to wish you a happy Thanksgiving, but I want our feeling of thanks to go beyond December. And moving forward, I'm going to share a little bit more about the holiday seasons in upcoming episodes and talk about some of the corny stuff that I do in Christmas time. But my hope is that we start this patch in November, and we move into December and into January, and we all start thinking about ways that we can be thankful, we can help others, because when we're feeling good, we're usually more empathetic. But we also pause and say, you know what? If everything around me crumbled and I still had my family, I think I'd be okay. We'll find a way. And I think that's what I'm getting at. Being thankful for your kids. Do they drive you nuts? Absolutely. It's part of their job, I think. I look back now and I laugh at those years when my wife and I could barely see the end of our noses, and I chuckle. We weren't chuckling then. I'll tell you that. But I've got a different perspective. So now as I'm thinking about the stressors of trying to fund our son's new plan moving forward, I'm sure there's people out there who would say, pause for a second, Dad. It's going to be okay. You're going to figure out a way. And if that means leaning on some people for some advice or finding some ways to get help with whatever it is that you're dealing with, that's my message to you as well. It's going to be okay. Be thankful for what we have. I'm excited headed into the holiday season. Most importantly, I'm thankful that I got my family. We're all still plodding along together. We're doing our thing. So happy Thanksgiving, friend. Enjoy your time with your family. And together, Let's let this Thanksgiving season spark something in us that carries a little bit further than just the end of December. Have a great one, Dad. We'll talk to you again next week. Thanks for sticking around. If you got any questions you want answered on the show, or you just want some feedback or want to share some ideas, shoot me an email, dadsallinpodcast@gmail.com, or send me a DM on any of the socials @rechargedfamily. Thanks for listening.